Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is HowFast. Behind me I have Hildy, my E90 BMW. She's a 328 Xi from 2011, and this car has taken me clear across all of Ontario several times, and I've had her for under 5 years now, and we have just hit 300,000 kilometers. 300,000 kilometers in a BMW is not a small feat. Now, these cars are engineered very well, some parts over-engineered, but definitely made to last. Problem is you've got to keep up with the maintenance. A lot of people don't know how to do their own maintenance, or they can't afford to take it to like a BMW dealership and pay the astronomical labor fees, and the parts from the dealership are also very expensive. So, you know, if you have a 10-year-old BMW or even a 5-year-old BMW, and you know, you can buy aftermarket parts and get parts relatively cheap if you're willing to do the maintenance yourself, and I was. So Hildy here has had some work done to her over the last 5 years that I've had her in order to keep her up and running. She hasn't gone without problems, and you guys, if you've followed along on the channel at least the last 2 years, you've certainly seen some of the things that I've had to deal with Hildy. None of them were serious. None of them were you know, sell the car and part it out, but regular maintenance on a lot of them, especially something that you drive as much as I do. So today, Hildy is going to get her 300,000 kilometer oil change, and we're going to talk about what I'm going to do for Hildy here as a gift for her for being such a great, reliable, trustworthy steed through all of my adventures over the last 5 years. So let's talk about what Hildy was, what she looked like, who she was when I first bought her, when I first met her, and her evolution over the last 4 years to where she is now, and then where she's going to be going in the future. Now, Hildy and I here, we've been through quite a bit. You know, 300,000 kilometers, that's a long way. But when I first got her, it was back in about 2016, around the winter time. You know, she was not exactly how I had envisioned my car to look. She looked a bit something like this. Very stock, very plain, and very 328-like. And, you know, it's a 328. They're reliable cars. They're good, reliable cars. But...
And I think, like a lot of BMW guys, you know, I wanted a 335, right? Like, who doesn't want a 335? Especially at the time, you know, 5 years ago or something like that. Such a popular car, popular engine with the N54. But this car was meant, when being bought, to be a commuter, knowing that I was going to drive it into the ground. And as far as reliability, that N52 is a reliable engine. And everything on this thing is stock, other than the suspension, the brakes, and the wheels. But those have all been replaced numerous times. And naturally, you know, I wanted to change her looks a bit, and the first thing every guy does, trying to change the looks drastically on a car, is you change the wheels. So I was looking for something budget. Budget's always my name. Budget's always my game. So I found a set of 18-inch 162s, which actually I have for sale right now, if anybody's looking. You know, I like that style. I've always liked that style of wheel. It's not everybody's favorite, but I like it. Cheap, couple $100, and I go up a wheel size. Instead of 17s, I got 18s, which is nice, except for the fact that they were staggered. And these cars, as you know, eat back tires. After that, it was time for the suspension. To be honest, the stock suspension was good. It didn't need replacing, but I wanted the car to be lower, a lot lower. And I got a set of Godspeed mono something. Godspeed. I got some Godspeed coilovers, and again, price was right, and I wanted to give it a shot. So I actually switched those over to I switched from the stock over to the Godspeed coilovers. They had a lot of dampening adjustment, and They were really good for what I could say was a short period of time. Really, being realistic, I probably got 60 to 80,000 kilometers out of them, which is probably pretty good, you know, for most people. For me, that was almost a year's worth of driving. So, in a year, I blew through the suspension on it and needed to switch them again. Luckily, the company had a full warranty, so I replaced them again with the same coilovers, and again got about a year out of them. Now, during that time, Hildy went through a couple different renditions of vinyls. Hildy went through a pretty drastic transformation. We debadged her. We took off all of her badges, which these cars have a lot of badges on them, if you don't know. In particular, the X drives. So I removed all of those. I don't particularly like badges on a car. Maybe one if it's a special car. I also blacked out her side markers. And her side reflectors as well that are on the fender. I got her a small but tasteful rear wing, which you can see here. I painted myself, and it turned out really well. And I also changed the pathway lights to read the BMW logo, though I'm not sure if I have any pictures of those. And I also changed her grille to the more popular, and I would say better looking, Ford grille. And I wrapped her interior with one of those vinyl wraps. I actually wrapped her interior. All of that fake wood grain. I wrapped all of that. Really changed the feel of the car. And then, of course, more recently, our new wheels and new brakes. So that about wraps up all of the modifications I've done to the car. So minimal. A lot of aesthetic stuff, but a lot of just stock, right? This is all BMW. Don't mess with it, right? Don't mess with it. It seems to work as long as you maintain it. And maintenance, like I said, is one part of this whole equation that got this thing to 300,000 kilometers. Now, I live in Canada, southern Canada. This is what I run. Mobil 1 0W40, full synthetic. It's expensive, but you can get it on sale. If you can get it on sale, it's worth doing it. Stock up when you can. So a good question is, what have I had to replace on this car? That was not a regular maintenance item like wear and tear. Because if someone asked me how many times I replaced my tires on this car, you'd be shocked. If someone asked me how many times I've changed the oil on this car, you'd be shocked. So the question is what items outside of regular maintenance items would be considered something that I had to replace? So I will give you the list. Here's the list. Just like with every N52 engine ever made, the valve cover gasket is going to leak. Not a terribly difficult replacement, but when I bought the car, I had a warranty with it. I had the guys replace it under warranty. Also, I happened to hear an alternator pulley squeak. I had them replace that. I also had a squeak from the heater blower fan, and I recognized it because I had it on my old BMW, the same squeak. I don't know if it's inherent or what, but it seemed to be when I like hit the brakes or hit the gas, you'd hear this like chirping coming from under the dash. I knew what it was right away. So I had that replaced. There were 3 other things. The starter. Hildy's starter left me stranded in Toronto. My fault. Wasn't listening to her. She was giving me all the signs. I wasn't listening. My fault. There's an episode on that. I'll link it right here. More recently, a wheel bearing has failed. You know, all of these items here tally up to, like, in parts wise, easily less than $1,000, probably closer to $500. Labor, on the other hand, if you were paying a BMW mechanic or shop labor, thousands of dollars in labor. So the question is, are these cars reliable? Yes, if you keep up on the maintenance. If you bought a Toyota and put as much maintenance into it as I put into this car, it would last you a lifetime. That being said, Toyotas are ugly. My point being that, you know, everyone likes what they like, you know, and each car has its quirks. These cars are no exception. You know, they are known for leaking oil. Hildy doesn't leak oil, but I stay on top of all that stuff. So, you know, she's a diamond in the rough, and she's proving to be that day in and day out. And because of that, I bought her some new shoes. You guys saw that a couple of episodes ago. We got some new wheels and tires for Hildy, and I think they look great on her. It's so great, I was considering actually giving her a new vinyl job, maybe something geometric. I don't know. I've got some ideas. I was also considering just repainting her front bumper, because I did say we were going to do that, and I'm debating. There's a cost involved, and I'm at a point now with Hildy where, at her age, I'm debating how much money I want to actually put back into her. Right now, as she stands, she runs really well, but she does have an engine light on. She is a BMW, after all. It's an O2 sensor, and because of that, it needs replacing. Questionable whether I want to replace it. Hildy here doesn't owe me a dime. This car does not owe me a dime. She has paid me back tenfold for what I actually paid for her. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think? What do you think Hildy needs? Should she get a new paint job on the front bumper? Should she get a new vinyl wrap along the whole front end of the car? Or just leave her, just as she is, rough and tumble, after all her kilometers of driving? As for now, though, I'm going to drive her and keep driving her as long as I can. 300,000 K and counting. And we'll see where she gets to a point where I can't afford to put anything else into her. That'll be a sad day. It'll be a sad day when that day comes, because me and this girl we've seen a lot of miles.
So I'm still up in the air, guys. I haven't decided completely whether we're going to do some vinyl graphics on Hildy, or we're going to paint her, or we're just going to leave her alone. But I do want to hear you guys' comments down below. Let me know what you think. What do you think about that vinyl idea? That's not the finished concept. That's just something for inspiration. But the idea is there. So let me know what you guys think. Now, as far as HowFast trivia, last week, guys, I was brought to my attention that the way that we do the trivia is not exactly fair to people on the other side of the planet who might be watching the channel, because sometimes, when the channel uploads at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time over here in Canada, that might be the middle of the night somewhere else in the world. It really isn't fair for those boys and girls over there who are playing along, and they're expected to answer within like the first hour. So what we're going to do is we're going to change it up just slightly. I'm going to pull all the correct answers, all the users who get the correct answers. I'm going to put your name into a hat, and I'm going to draw out of the hat for who's going to win the HowFast trivia. Still best of 3. Renee, you still have one. You are still in the lead with 1 win. Best of 3 in the hat, so that it's fair for everyone for around the world. It gives everyone enough time to answer, and it'll be more a question of chance out of all the correct answers. I think that's the best and most fair way to do it. If you guys have any other better ideas, let me know. We can always change this up. We're shooting from the hip here. I'm not some professional, so you guys let me know what you think, and we'll see if we can make that work. So for last week's trivia, which Renee got correct, the question was, which automobile manufacturer's slogan means advancement through technology? Your options were A, Audi, B, BMW, C, Mercedes-Benz, or D, Porsche. And the correct answer was A, Audi. So congratulations, Renee. As I mentioned, you are 1 point towards the HowFast Trivia swag pack. So now for this week's question, and as I mentioned, this will go into a hat. A name will be chosen, drawn at random next week. And our question for this week's HowFast Trivia for the HowFast Gear: Rudolf Diesel, inventor of the diesel engine, died in mysterious circumstances when traveling by which mode of transport? Was it A, a ship, B, a train, C, a coach, or D, an airplane? I look forward to hearing your guys' comments and questions. I'll catch up with you next week. I have a special a surprise for you guys. For you, those of you who stuck around to the end here, next week I got a big surprise for you guys. I'm super excited. A new member of the HowFast family. I'll catch up with you guys next time. Find out how fast we can make these cars go.